Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to Godly Play. You might remember last week we started talking about some of Jesus's friends. We talked about Nicodemus last week, and today we're going to talk about three of his friends. The names of his friends were Mary and Martha, who were sisters, and their brother Lazarus. And they lived in a place called Bethany. Now one day, Jesus and his disciples came to Bethany, and Mary and Martha invited them to stay at their house. And while they were there, Jesus was teaching, and Mary was fascinated, and she sat down at his feet and listened with all the other disciples. And Martha was getting the house ready for all their guests. And she was cooking food, and she was cleaning, and she was trying to figure out who was going to sleep where. And she was very tired and very frustrated. And she went to Jesus and said, "Jesus, I'm doing all this work, and my sister Mary is just sitting there doing nothing. Tell her to help me." And Jesus said, "Martha, you're busy with a lot of things, a lot of important things, but Mary has chosen the thing that is the most important, and I'm not going to take it away from her." Later, Jesus was at another place, and he was told that Lazarus, the brother of Mary and Martha, was very, very sick, and they wanted him to come to Bethany. And Jesus said, "This sickness is not going to end in death." And he stayed away for 2 days. And then he went to Bethany. And when he got to Bethany, he found out that Lazarus had died and been buried in a tomb. He'd been dead for 4 days. And Martha went to see Jesus as he came in and said, "Jesus, I know that if you had been here, Lazarus would not have died." And Jesus said, "Do you believe in me?" And Martha said, "I do. I believe that you're the Messiah." And Jesus said, "Lazarus isn't dead. He's only asleep, and I'm going to wake him up." And Martha said, "We'll go to the tomb." So they went to the tomb where Lazarus was buried, and there were many, many people with them because many people had come to comfort the sisters who had lost their brother. And Jesus told them to roll the stone away from the tomb. And Martha said, "But that's not a good idea. He's been dead for 4 days. And Jesus said, "But you said you believed me." And they rolled the stone away, and Lazarus came out alive. And he had on his burial clothes, but he was fine. And that was one of the biggest miracles that Jesus did. You might remember we talked a little bit about miracles before. So these stories are some of my favorite stories in the Bible. With the first part of the story, I sort of wonder about what sorts of things you find important and what sorts of things are the most important. Because we all have a lot of things to fill our days, and we all have what are called priorities. You'll probably hear about those a lot more as you get older. And everyone has to decide on priorities. And in reading the Bible, we can find what Jesus felt was the most important and the most important thing to spend your time on. And that's something, again, you might think about in your own life. What is most important? What do you spend most of your time doing? Should you be spending more time doing something else? And of course, the second part of the story is one of the most important miracles that Jesus did. You know, we talked about miracles being things that really shouldn't be able to happen, but they do. And Jesus did a lot of those to help people believe that he was who he said he was. So I hope you'll give some thought to all of those different things as the week goes by. And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.